Hi everyone. Over the past few weeks, we've been developing brooch designs using the visual elements of shape and pattern. And last week, we were making up a couple of ideas that combined shapes with patterns and shapes with other shapes. This week, we're going to choose one of those. So these were some of my ideas. And I'm going to choose this one in the middle, as I think this is maybe going to work best to further develop. So this week we're going to take our chosen design and we're going to look at the visual element of form, which is when you create a 3D effect. You start off with something flat and 2D and you make it 3D. And there's a couple of ways we can do that. One of those is developing your chosen idea using paper or card manipulation, which is the first one here in red. And you can also develop it using something called low relief, where we create layers of paper and card on top of the other to create, again, a 3D effect. We're going to be trying out one or other of those options and then taking a photograph of our final brooch design on an item of clothing that you've got, just to show us how great it is. You'll need for this week a piece of A4 paper, just the same size as this, if you've got one. If you don't have one, don't worry, we can just use whatever you've got. If you could try and get some sort of thin paper though, it could even be an envelope cut up or anything you've got that's quite thin and see-through. We're also looking for some recycled colourful paper, and you'll need a ruler or something with a straight edge that you can draw straight lines with, a pair of scissors and a glow stick, but that is optional for the low relief option. First, you're going to create a master drawing of your final design and a couple of duplicate templates that we can use to cut up and experiment with. First, we're going to take an A4 bit of paper, just the same size as you used last week. Though don't worry if you don't have one, you can use anything you've got. And you're going to divide it up into 8 even sized bits of paper. To do this, fold it in half in one direction, fold it back in itself, and then in half in the other direction, fold it back in itself again. Then you're going to take a pair of scissors, cut it very neatly up the middle. You're going to overlay one piece over the other and cut it one more time. Just try and make sure the corners are lining up when you're doing this. And again, bundle all the sheets together one last time. Fold them in half in one direction. Turn it back in itself, fold it in half in the other direction to give you again a nice crisp line to cut along. And cut it in half again one more time, and that will give you 8 bits of paper that are all exactly the same size and are also coincidentally the right size for your brooch. We're going to use one of those bits of paper and very neatly, using a pencil first and a ruler if you have one, or something that will give you a nice straight edge, draw out your final design perfectly. So I'm using this design from last week and I've drawn it out really neatly, first using a pencil, and then I've gone over all of my lines in a bold pen to make it easy to see through. We're now going to take that, and we're not going to cut this up or anything. We're keeping this as our master copy in case we need to refer back to it. We're going to make a couple of duplicates of this you can use your window as a light box to take another bit of paper the same size, place it over the top, and we're going to trace through our design to make, say, 3 or 4, maybe more copies of that drawing that are exactly the same. And we're going to use them in the next stage. Now, using your chosen recycled material, you're going to create a 3D form. First, using one of your templates, tape it down using masking tape or sellotape or a paper clip or a hair clip or anything you've got onto your cardboard, and cut out your outer shape using that as a template. Then, once the template's fallen off, you're going to tape it on again, and you're going to use the inside of a pair of scissors to score every single line you've drawn in that drawing. You're going to score everything quite deeply, but make sure you don't go all the way through if you've got quite thin paper. If you have quite thick cards, you might need to make a second score. So you'll see where the lines have gone through, but they might not be bending very easily. You might need to score them one more time. Then really just play with the form, try bending it in different directions and just see what happens, explore it, and you'll eventually come up with a final arrangement that you're happy with. You might want to cut into it a little bit, just see what happens. You might want to cut out some extra shapes. Then we're going to go on and explore a low relief technique, which you can do if you have a glue stick or some sort of glue. Starting in exactly the same way, tape it onto your chosen recycled material and cut out the outer shape. Then you can continue to use the same template, or if you've got duplicate templates and you've accidentally cut a bit off, you can use one of them and just cut out any shapes or bits of pattern that you've found that you want to create layers with. So just keep experimenting, trying different materials, cutting out different shapes, making some bits deeper than other bits. Just keep playing around with it until you come up with something you're happy with. When you come up with a final idea, using glue, just layer it all up and glue it down. And a really good idea once you're happy with everything, it's all glued down, is just to use a pair of scissors and just cut around the edges again to make it all nice and tidy it up. So those are your two ideas. You can explore either of them, or you can do both. It's up to you. And if you want to just take it a little bit further and experiment even more and really impress me, you can try doing a little bit of origami as well. I've been making a couple of sheets of origami that once you've made the sheets, you could cut them into shapes. So for example, there's one here which is called a herringbone fold. I've created a little YouTube tutorial, and that's on the art department YouTube. I'll put the links to it on this page. There's a valley fold plate, and there's one or two other ones as well. This is quite an interesting just ribbed fold, but it looks a little bit like the ribs of concrete. So once you've made some sheets of just origami, you could cut them into some of your shapes. So that's a way of combining shape with patterns and texture. It's a wee bit more advanced, but it might be something that you want to try. So I'll just show you one little example here of some shapes. So I use this technique here, which is the kind of concrete rip type effect, just to create a circle. which is quite nice. And some other ones, so like some little sections of triangles, and another triangle ones in there. Now we have a finished design. Make sure you remember to take a photograph of it and post it for us to see. Really look forward to seeing all of your fantastic work, and make sure you think about colours and textures and yeah, all that stuff too. Look forward to seeing what you come up with. Good luck everyone.